To continue on with the death scenes, death number 5, which I forgot to mention, is the death of the tiger shark. Because fishermen do capture a shark and they kill it, and it's out on the island. So yes, that would be death number 4. Ben Gardner would be death number 5. So death number 6 is the estuary victim, who is nameless. He's only named as estuary victim in the end credits. Now what happens to him is he's trying to help out Martin Brody's son, Michael, and the shark hits the boat, topples over, and he starts getting pulled under, and you see a good chunk of the shark above the surface of the water when he gets pulled down, and then you see his severed leg float down to the bottom of the sea. And you see blood rising up from the water. Now, a little mistake that they did is that the estuary victim is not wearing shoes when he falls out of the boat, but his severed leg has a sneaker on it. Oops. Okay, so death number... Okay, that was 6. Death number 7 is Quint. Now, Quint dies differently in the movie. He gets bitten in the movie, and the shark comes up and it plows down on the boat. I know how ridiculous that sounds, but it looks amazing. I assure you of that. And Quint just whoop right into the shark's mouth. No, and it's biting him, and he spews out blood from the mouth, and then he just floats down underneath the surface. Death number 8, and this is the most important death of all. This is the death of the killer shark in the movie. And again, it is a different ending than the book. So, what happens in the movie, there's 2 things that get established really early on when they're out at sea chasing after this animal. The first thing is that there's these air tanks, and Hooper tells Brody, if you screw around with them, they will blow up. And then Quint mentions that if a shark, what would a shark do with it? It would probably just chew on it. So Brody remembers these 2 things. Most audience members don't. I know I didn't for years. So he picks up the air tank, shoves it into the shark's mouth, and it does what Quint thought it would. It just chews on it. And so Brody gets his gun, and he starts shooting at it, and shoots at it, and boom! And it explodes. Of course it would explode. It's a movie. You can't just have it die from its wounds. It's lame. It's boring. So, death total is, for all of it, 8. For humans specifically, 5. Animals, 3. Redneck fishers get 1. Martin Brody gets 1. And the shark gets 6. Now, every single Jaws movie, and this is established in the book, has a 3-act structure. So let's define where these acts begin and end. Act 1 obviously begins at the very beginning of the movie. Act 1 ends after the estuary it ends right when they're going out to sea to chase after the shark. Act 2 begins at that moment as well. Act 2 begins there, and they're chilling and they're chasing after the shark, and they keep on chasing after it, and it ends right when Hooper gets put into the shark cage and it goes into the water. That's where Act 3 begins, and Act 3 ends, obviously, with the end of the movie. It's a 3-act structure if you really look at it, and you're like, yeah, this feels like an entirely different setting. Is Jaws a good movie? No. It's an extraordinary movie. I would give it out of 4 out of 4. Yeah, it's just that amazing. Everybody should see this movie before they die. Is it better than the book? I'm not going to voice an opinion on that. I think they're both good for what they are. I don't think they should be compared. They are too different. They're very different mediums. So, just to let you know how the movie did, it made $100 million, and it was the first movie to make that mark. And it was playing in theaters for well over a year in some places. It was a phenomenon. So, until next time, when I review Jaws 2, I have one last thing to say. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water.